I'm Robert Lawrence, and I'm the faculty chair of the Trade Policy Executive Program, Trade Policy for Today's World. This is a program designed for trade policymakers at all levels, whether you're a minister of trade or whether you're someone just entering the field of trade. Our program is designed to enhance your ability to function as a trade policymaker. It's also designed for people who currently work in government, who work in private firms, and who work in non-governmental organizations, all of whom are concerned about being a more effective trade policy maker. The program is going to be given entirely remotely, and this will bring benefits to you. The materials for the course are really designed to be very interactive. We have numerous case studies which we have prepared. You'll also be engaged in simulations of trade negotiations and in active discussions with your peers in the group. This is also a very challenging program because of what's happening in the world of trade policy. If you thought back 5 years ago, globalization looked on a pretty smooth track. It seemed as though more and more countries were signing trade agreements, especially regional trade agreements, and globalization seemed to be a growing trend. But since that time, the environment has become much more challenging. The challenges include the election of Donald Trump and the change in US trade policies, the trade wars that have erupted between China and the United States, the growth of populist movements throughout the world who have often made anti-globalization and specifically protectionism a key ingredient of their programs. And the institutions of trade have come under increasing pressure. The Doha Round negotiations are moribund, and the dispute settlement system of the WTO can no longer function effectively. So we face a host of challenges. And what the purpose of our course will be is to allow you to understand these challenges and to perform better as a trade policymaker in dealing with them. Our philosophy is basically that that trade policy is really an art rather than a science. But in order to be a good policymaker, you need to be equipped in the foundations. And three pillars really constitute those foundations. The first is economics. And I, as an economist, will be presenting much of that material. The second is the need to understand the rules and the politics of trade. And my colleague, Craig van Grastek, who is a political scientist, who has done a lot of consulting to governments over the years, and actually wrote the official history of the WTO itself, is extremely familiar with the rules and the politics of trade, and he will be focusing on those issues. But it's not enough just to have the knowledge about trade. You also need to know how to act. And for that, negotiations are often key. And our third major faculty member is Brian Mandel, who teaches negotiations at the Kennedy School. I look forward to seeing as many of you as possible at the program, which will take place in August.